Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is the Cyber Pro podcast where industry leaders share their insights. It's 5 questions-ish in 9 minutes because hackers never sleep. So let's get to it. Question number 1, who are you and what do you do?
Eric, thank you for inviting me. So my name is Charles Givre. I am CEO and founder of a new startup called Data Distiller, where our goal is making the world's data easy to use and query. My background is in cyber data science. Before doing this, I was at JP Morgan and Deutsche Bank doing cybersecurity, doing data science / cybersecurity work. And then before that, I was in the intelligence community for about 12 years.
Splendid. We love it. We love when we can get some folks that have a diverse background. So I appreciate that. Question number 2, what's the best thing about being a cyber professional, especially because you're not just a cyber professional, you're a data professional as well?
I think the best thing for me is that it's important, meaningful work, right? Like you're doing things to stop bad stuff from happening. And that to me is like, it's meaningful. You're not like, I mean, not to like mock people's work, but it's the work is very enjoyable when you have a success, when you can say, hey, I stopped these, these actors from doing really destructive things to this company or something like that. So that to me is really enjoyable. It's also like very mentally challenging because you have to stay, you have to stay ahead of the game. You have to really kind of know your stuff. And so it's not something where you just, do it once and that's never going to change. You're always having to learn new things, always having to adapt. So it's very like mentally engaging and challenging. So for me, those are the things that I like about it the most.
Nice. I'm going to add an extra question right away. The question is, do you think that data science is kind of the next leading field? Should people be looking at it seriously?
Yes, I absolutely do. I think as cyber in particular, like what my general observation was that data science kind of emerged in the like ad tech, big data space. I mean, it makes sense because like Google, who are the leaders in that? Google, Facebook, and all the kind of big companies like that. What I see happening now in the data world is that more and more industries are realizing, hey, we could use this amazing, cool technologies and techniques for our purposes and get value in that. I mean, you're seeing that in healthcare, in manufacturing, and I mean, you name the industry, and people are doing that. What's also kind of a good thing that's happening now is that the tools are getting a lot easier to use and a lot more user friendly. So you don't have to be a data expert in order to get value out of your data. I mean, that was part of the motivation for me founding my company, was to make it easier for security professionals to use a lot more advanced analytic techniques on their data and solve their problems faster and not, than is currently possible. But I think it's a great time to kind of get into the industry and learn a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's getting easier and easier. There's more and more automation available. There's a lot of possibilities right now. So I think it's absolutely relevant for pretty much any industry, especially security also. So
absolutely great insights. We appreciate that. And I appreciate you making it easier for the community, especially folks who want to use that data. So that's good. Question number 3, industry leaders are telling me that cybersecurity is top of mind, top concerns. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to you?
Well, I guess to me, it shows that there's a recognition that that it is something to be taken seriously. I think it's like one of these things that no one really thinks about. It used to be like nobody really thinks about until something really bad happens, and then people start realizing, oh, okay, we actually start needing to invest in security and taking this seriously. I think you're seeing now more and more organizations are realizing the devastating effects that can happen in a breach, and like, I mean, it could be really destructive, if not catastrophic, to businesses. Like it could, and so I think more and more people are coming to that realization. The corollary is, data privacy. I think more and more people are starting to understand, like, hey, maybe we shouldn't put all this data on making it accessible, because there could be some bad consequences from that. So I think we're seeing all these things kind of happen simultaneously. But to me, the fact that more and more people are becoming aware of these kinds of things in society, I think as a whole, are talking about security, about data privacy, about all these issues, is generally a good thing and will help people, reduce their risk and, and hopefully, prevent some, real disasters that could happen. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
Great. And we see the disasters happening every day. So
unfortunately,
I think that's top of mind, which is good. Question number
I'll tell you,
four.
I'll tell you
Oh,
just,
please,
sorry,
let's
one
go.
other thought. One of the things
Yeah,
that
please.
always kind of concerns me is like 4 or 5 years ago, you would see kind of like the knee-jerk response to a breach would be like, hey, we're going to just buy everybody credit monitoring for a year. But we're seeing that, and believe me, I have a collection of, you know, credit monitoring letters that if you know from stuff anyway, but I think we're starting to realize now that, you know, often when you have actors that aren't just going after money, they're going after other things, that's you know, people are really starting to take that a lot more seriously and understand that they're the consequences of breaches. So it helps motivate organizations to take security more seriously. It helps people, you know, implement better controls and do so in an intelligent way. At least I hope that they're
Fair enough. Question number four. What piece of insight do you want to share with our community?
Well, I guess let's see. So I'll say from my background as a cyber data geek, it's a great time to learn this stuff. I teach courses about this. I'm teaching at Black Hat this year. I've taught there for the last 6 or 7 years now. It's a great time to learn this stuff. And if somebody wants to get into it, you know, feel free to contact me. I'm happy to kind of point you in the right direction or do that sort of thing. I've seen there in the last 2 years, there's been just some really great data tools, and in particularly around the realm of automating machine learning. And that to me is a really interesting topic because it makes machine learning much more accessible. It's still important for people to understand how models work and kind of, I mean, at least at the conceptual level, but the fact that you can basically automate the production of these models is an incredible development. And I think this will help people, you know, who maybe aren't experienced data scientists be able to implement predictive models and ultimately like reduce their risk or do other really amazing and cool things.
So do you think that people can upskill, you know, somebody who's a cyber forensics guy, or you know, maybe they're you know, someone focused on analyst work or whatever that might be? Do you think somebody can upskill themselves to be better using your data education?
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen that. I've taught thousands of people, you know, my courses at Black Hat. Before that, when I was, you know, at Booz Allen. I mean, I've taught thousands of people personally. I've seen my team has taught tons of people as well. And I've seen people go from knowing, like, just kind of knowing how to code in Python to like doing full on data science work, you know, using what's out there. And that was, you know, even several years ago when the stuff was a lot harder. It's only getting easier and becoming, you know, more and more accessible.
That's great. And I think that is going to perk the ears up of the people that listen to these podcasts. So I appreciate that. Fifth and final question. Here's the fun question. What's your favorite piece of retro technology that makes you smile?
Okay. So this is a good question. I love cars. So I saw a while ago that there are these cars that are only made for, they call it the Japanese domestic market. And they make all these cars that are like these retro styled cars, and they just look so cool, but they're a modern car and they're built like they're small, but they're like have all these elements of 50s styling in it, and they just look really cool. And if I had nothing better to do, and I don't know, I would love to buy one and have one shipped here. But anyway, that's
That's great. So it's a mix of modern technology with a retro feel. I
yeah,
love the old 50s and 60s cars, the Corvettes, and some of those old,
yeah.
you know, 4 lanes are out there. So that's great. Wonderful. You did it. More than 5 questions in 9 minutes. It was epic having you on. Everyone, take a look at the other episodes and insights from the Cyber Pro podcast. My name is Rick. Stay awesome, my friends.
Thank you, Rick.